Welcome, everybody, to Get Chosen Live. I'm excited to be back with you and even more excited about my guest today. And the topic that our guest is going to share. So, welcome, Andreas, to the show. I'm going to share a little bit of information about you for our audience sake. Andreas is the founder and CEO of Artias, an AI search optimization agency that helps B2B companies get recommended by ChatGPT. Now, as you all know, well, maybe you don't all know. From my standpoint, it appeared like SEO was dead as AI began to take over. So what we're going to talk about today is how ChatGPT now incorporates SEO. Andreas was a certified accountant turned data scientist, and he built his first LLM model. I always have to struggle to get that right, from the ground up in 2019. So he's been doing this for a while. He has a unique perspective on how AI systems process and recommend information. He's the author of Data-Driven SEO with Python, and he has nearly 25 years of experience in traditional SEO, as well as digital marketing. So, what attracted me to Andreas is he said that ChatGPT is positioning winners and losers. And he asked me if I was going to be a winner in the new game of AI SEO. So, Andreas, welcome to the show. It is awesome to have you.
Thank you, Thank you, Monty. I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited to share my knowledge, and yeah, it's great. It's a real honor and privilege to be here.
Well, thank you. You're across the pond from me. So what time is it for you right now?
Right now it's 6 o'clock in the evening.
6 o'clock in the evening, so we're not too bad. Okay, so I'm really excited about this. If you are live, if you're watching us live, feel free to drop into the chat any questions that you have. We will get to those later in the podcast. Okay, if we miss your question, if we don't see you live, or if something is happening where it doesn't come up, we will answer those questions on the platform that you are on later today. Okay, so don't worry, we'll get to any questions that you have. If you're seeing this show post live and you have some questions, please drop them in the comments. We will be watching that, and Andreas will be watching that as well, and he will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Without further ado, Andreas, I would love to turn it over to you for this presentation. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm here to share my knowledge, and I thought the first thing is why listen to Andreas? I'm the mad scientist in residence. Several reasons, really. First of all, I built, as Monty mentioned, I built our first LLM in 2019. Okay. So that means I have knowledge from the inside out, from the ground up, as to what makes an LLM tick and what it is LLMs are looking for. And so it was when I built the LLM, I realized the writing was on the wall for SEO. And like a mad scientist, I've been harvesting data on a daily basis for the last 6 years to prepare for a day when someone like the New York Times would declare SEO is dead, as they did last year in March 2025. So, what did my LLM do? I built my LLM not just out of intellectual curiosity, but also because I wanted a system to automate the optimization of web pages. And here we can see an article where I shared my knowledge in 2020 with Spotify, how I built my LLM to optimize web pages. So look, why is SEO's playbook yesterday? Because there's a lot of SEO consultants out there who claim to have expertise with LLMs and AI and they're all saying that AI is an extension of SEO, but nothing could be further from the truth. The first thing is that SEO search engines, they're keyword driven. Okay. Search engines have a very narrow input window and a very narrow output window. 10 blue links is a very narrow output window compared to an LLM. Unlike search engines, GPTs or AI, it's very opaque. Okay. So it means, unlike search engines where it's quite easy to try and reverse engineer what it is a search engine what is looking for and what's working and what isn't working, it's not the case with AI. It's much more opaque. It's much harder to see the inner workings. Even those working at the engineering staff at OpenAI, Claude, and Perplexity, even they struggle to know the exact path that their own AIs are taking when they produce results. So if they're struggling, SEOs have no chance. And so SEO can't game what it can't see. And that's the point. And this is why SEO's playbook is yesterday. So AI demands a new approach. Okay. First thing is that the information gain, the insights that you have to bring to the table, insanely higher in AI. And it costs 10 times more energy to run an AI prompt than it does to run a search on Google. Okay. So that's 10 times as much energy. Now, what that means is that your content really has to hit the mark first time with AI, whereas with Google search, you can get away with a much lower quality content threshold. And so that means that to meet that threshold for AI, you have to come up with insights that are unseen. You have to teach AI something new. You can't do what you could with Google, for example, where you would do a bunch of desk research, you would analyze the top 10 results, and then you would take the best sections and improve on those individual sections as part of your version in order to rank top. That just won't cut it for AI. And so AI will cite what it learns from, and the rest it will ignore. Okay. And so the great thing is if you're winning in AI, you're absolutely going to crush SEO. The standards in GEO are much higher than they are for SEO. You have to bring much more to the table. Fun fact, 76% of stuff that's in AI's results ranks in Google. Okay. So that means you're getting compounded visibility. If you're able to crack AI search visibility, then you're going to have game-changing performance in Google and Bing. And so here's an example. We got a client ranking above multi-state global player names. They're the top result in the traditional search results, in addition to being seen everywhere in AI. And so what is GEO? Well, also known as Generative Engine Optimization. Well, let me start with what GEO is not, okay? So, it's not prompt engineering where you try and trick AI by, prompting it for data to put into your content. Because if you did that, then that would be like trying to feed AI its own sweat to hydrate. It's brutal, but it's true. It's not schema, okay, where you sprinkle a little schema code and then voila, you are top everywhere and visible in AI, because if you can do that, everybody else can too. And it's not restructuring your content to frequently asked question format to make it easier for AI to pass. No doubt schema and FAQ does help AI, but it's not the game-changing ingredient. So, because what you can do easily, others can too. So this reminds me 25 years ago with SEO, everybody was manipulating their meta tags, descriptions, titles, and keywords. But the trouble is that, search engines realized that they were too easily manipulated. And that's why Google emerged as the winning technology leader because they came up with an algorithm that didn't make it so easy to manipulate. And so if you really want to succeed in GEO, you have to teach the world and AI something new, okay? Why would AI change the status quo to recommend your business if you're not teaching AI something new? What are you bringing that's new and unseen and valuable to the internet and to AI? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. Because AI already knows data from AI, so you need to come up with proprietary research. You need to come up with research grade reports that teach the world something new. And so when you do that, what you're giving AI is what we geeks in data science call information gain, because it gains information. So if your content can help it gain information and teach it something new and valuable, then you are giving it a reason to recommend you above the status quo. And so there's a clue here. This is a patent taken out by Google on information gain because it wants to try and legalize its competitive advantage of information gain above the competition. And this is their system for doing so. So obviously they want to stop others from copying it or be able to charge them if they copy it. So this is a really strong clue as to why AI favors content or research that provides that information gain. And so the other thing is that unlike search engines, which are keyword driven, you need to be following people and not LLMs. And what I mean by that is you need to be buyer targeted, because we're now of an age technologically and in society where the technology is advanced enough to understand to follow people rather than keywords. Keywords mean nothing. You can type in a pair of jeans in a search bar, whether it's AI or search engines, but we don't know who's typing, men's jeans, for example. Is it someone who flies by private jet, or is it someone who travels on the bus to work every day or by skateboard? We don't know. But the point is that different people are typing those things. So therefore, each result will have a different meaning to different people. Some will want Versace jeans, some will want American apparel. So it really depends. And the point is that with AI, because it's so sophisticated, you need to be more concerned with the conversations your buyers are having rather than the keywords that are being typed in, because they may well type in the same keywords as those who are not in your target buying groups. And so you need to be getting that data from the very same data sources that AI relies upon, like X, Reddit, Blue Sky. And they need to be of a significant sample size because it's all about scaled learning. AI is built on scaled data insights, so you need to be giving it the same. There's no point running a poll on 100 people or 30 people in the office and saying, hey, we've got some data now. We can write a research grade report. That is not research grade. You need statistical significance. It's got to have, a very low margin of error. It's got to have a high confidence interval for your target market. In the US, that's a high sample size. And so, these are the data sources that AI are using. Okay. And unlike SEO, you need to go beyond search. So that means, the SEO playbook content doesn't work as it would for AI. SEO content generally is created to rank, but with GEO, if you're just creating content to rank, it's going to get deprioritized. Okay. It needs to be something that people in the office are willing to share. SEO playbook content for so long has been something where it's just for search engines and nobody really wants to talk about it or mention it on LinkedIn or any of their social channels. Why? Because it's embarrassing. Like, if you're selling office space, SEO content would have the first section such as what is an office. But if you're selling to people who need an office, they're never going to ask what is an office, right? It's ridiculous. So this is the kind of SEO content we're talking about. That's never going to work in AI. What they do want is they want content that helps buyers solve problems before they try solutions out, and your content needs to come up with experience and insights that help them learn before they make mistakes. So that is the kind of content that would be shared because people can engage with it. And so it's got to be content that's not just good enough for social, but something you might create videos on, reels, newsletters. You might even go to press with some of the insights that come out from your research grade reports. It's got to be citation worthy, something that earns backlinks and coverage from premium publishers, just like we've done here. This is an example of a thought leadership report. We've put together some research. It's a high data sample size, 70,000 opinions. It's using the same data sources that AI uses. It's buyer targeted because we're talking about a specific buying group in the US. Also, it's got a high confidence level and a low margin of error. So that is the kind of thing that's going to get AI excited about your brand. And so it's no point producing the world's best product if you don't tell the world about it, and that includes AI. And the way we do that is several ways. We start with digital PR. With digital PR, you're targeting writers on the internet, so premium publishers, bloggers, also not just the haves, but the have-nots in forums who don't have a website, but they have these questions and want to have a discussion because they're looking for tips and they want real-time help virtually. But also you want to do it without paying, okay? So, and when you do that, you get the multiplier effect, okay? Because what happens is once you get the first few bits of mentions and backlinks, what happens is just you're much easier to be found, and therefore people read then your content and then they keep referring it and referencing it in their blogs, and journalists link to it, and then it becomes the gift that keeps on giving. And so here, if you're doing it right, you're going to get into the press without paying 5-figure sums, just like we have for our clients in Entrepreneur Magazine. We've done it in Tech Target, Proofpoint, and we haven't paid a single penny or sent any brown envelopes to get this kind of coverage. That's how good the content has to be in order to succeed. So again, it's not just trying to trick AI, it's also about showing real value that humans and your target buyers and their influencers and gatekeepers value too. And so after following all of that, that is how you get AI to cite and recommend your business across all of the AI platforms. Okay. And if I've managed to get your attention, this is me. Monty's already done an introduction, and yeah, I'll say no more, but thank you very much. And I only hope we get to work together so I can guarantee you're a winner too.
Fantastic presentation. You're going to say a lot more because I have questions.
Right.
So based on what I've seen, you and I have talked before, and I have felt like I have somewhat of a handle on, the AI models as it relates to SEO and stuff like that. But there's some things that I really keyed in on here that I have some questions about. And I'm trying to think about business owners and marketers who, this isn't our cup of tea, right? We'd love to find guys like you and just hand it off and say, just position us to the top, right? But what I'm hearing and what I am interested in, because for me and my company, we focus a lot on thought leadership, capturing mindshare with your target audience. And it's from an individualistic standpoint. It's not, it's not always brand specific. We believe people are brands. And, the more you engage your community, if you would, the more your brand awareness grows. What I heard you say is that AI search, if you would, is really pushing heavily into that model, which is they want people and ideas more than they want just, the stacked up what I consider website content, which website content to me is who cares, right? I mean, it's not engaging. It's just basic information. Whenever I go to ChatGPT, what they've trained us to do and what I do is I'm asking questions, right? I'm continually asking it questions and I'm continuing asking it to do things for me. So for somebody, for the business owner, for the marketer that is really just kind of getting introduced to this, give me am I right in that? And how should I look at my content strategy moving forward so that it is going to be accepted by AI and going to more position me towards the top as the thought leader, if you would, to answer people's questions?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So in our platform, what we've got is conversations, okay? And then what we do is when we work with any business, we zoom in on the target buyer, job title or persona. Okay. And by zooming in on that persona, we then have a set of opinions that they've discussed online. And then we cluster those opinions or categorize them into topics. And those topics are essentially your content strategy. Okay. And then in terms of prioritizing what you should write about, what we do is we pick we label those topics or we align them with your products and services, and then you know which ones to invest in creating content for. So to summarize, it really comes down to what are your buyers most passionate about? Because if they're talking about it online, then you know you're not creating something that hasn't been talked about.
Do you have any statistics, if you would? And this is kind of putting you on the spot. So if you don't, that's okay. But statistics on the number of people who are using AI search now over just traditionally going to Google and typing something into Google?
Yeah, so 25% are using AI, and that includes Google Gemini, okay? And 10% of that 25% is taken up by ChatGPT.
Yeah. So I fully believe that. I'm actually surprised it's not higher. But I think that, personally how I use it is I had been going to ChatGPT and just asking it my questions and getting my responses back. And then I realized, yeah, but I don't want to go to ChatGPT for basic questions, Q&A stuff that I don't want to keep as a
Mm.
conversation and clutter up my chat, my history, if you would,
Yeah.
in ChatGPT. So I started just going to Gemini and doing the same thing because it doesn't keep the record of it. I just ask it the question and it gives me the answer, right? And I know Gemini is heavily positioned off of using the internet, if you would, or the websites and stuff like that for its answers. So that's been really interesting to do. But how long does it take for, let's just say I wanted to just start my site. Let's say I haven't even really done any SEO work traditionally either. And I
Yeah,
have a
I mean,
new site
with new sites, we've worked with a few of those and we've managed to get results in under 4 months.
under 4 months. Now, what
Yeah.
does results mean? What were you able
Results
to accomplish
means
with them?
you're being positioned as one of the top businesses for what it is you do in your market. Um, and that 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 that's with sites that have not even invested a dime in SEO.
It's amazing. So now talk to me as though I know nothing. Okay. If I type a question into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, it does its thing, it gives me an answer, right? And then underneath it shows sources. It shows a bunch of little icons. It doesn't really show those sources.
Yeah.
So how does AI SEO, in a sense, work? Do I have to click on those sources to actually see? Or how do I get, when I say I show up, is it just simply in the answer? Or how do I get positioned?
So there's two levels of visibility in AI. To be positioned as the main answer, in the main text, usually the first step is to become a trusted source, like a citation. Okay, so you need to be producing research grade reports that put you in the sources. Once you're in the sources, then it's much easier to then get you positioned as the answer.
And to be positioned as the answer, does it say Monty Clark says or brand manager says? Or is it, again, talk to me like I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
it
this.
depends. So if someone is saying, who are the best consultants or the best companies for thought leadership
Okay.
in the B2B sector in the US, then it would say, here are some top recommended companies or consultants, and it would list brand managers,
Right.
for example. Yeah.
Now, AI is pulling a lot from social content. I saw that, correct?
Yes, correct.
So does that mean more and more our social posts are being used for
Yeah,
answers?
yeah, I would say so. We've seen data that increasingly YouTube is becoming relied upon as a data source, and obviously you've got the social channels like X,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, I know Grok pulls heavily from X,
yes, exactly.
right? So how does it then determine the right answer? Like how reliable is it then if it's just pulling from what we all have, what we all think? Does it like add up and say, "Oh, there's this many people that say this many people that say this, we'll choose this?"
Well, that's on one level, but there has to be weighting of those views as well. They would look at other factors such as, the who follows who's saying those things, how many followers do they have, what's the sentiment on forums like Blue Sky, Blue Sky, Reddit, Threads, that sort of thing, X included. So there's a lot of unpicking that the AI has to do in order to try and give a balanced, well-rounded answer.
Has there been any niche or any industry, if you would, that is not feasible for results with AI search?
Um, I think the unspeakable type industries such as gambling would
Okay.
enter that territory.
Okay. So if you're nefarious, if you would, that's not going to pull you up. Okay, fantastic. So let's say that I don't invest into AI search.
Yeah.
From what I heard, right now, about 35% of people are using AI search as opposed to just traditional Google search engines. How much is it going to affect me right now if I don't invest in AI search tactics like with Ardias? And how long will it be that it's going to really start affecting me?
Well, I think we can all agree that AI search is on the rise. Even Google is overtaking itself with its own AI search results, right? Google AI overviews now take up 40, if not 50% of the real estate on Google page one, which is why Google traffic from SEO has halved, more than halved even.
Hmm.
So if you're not investing, then that may be okay today, but tomorrow it could be a real problem, because we have agentic shopping and agentic search coming. So if you think about search engines, that's like the extraction layer. And then you've got LLMs, which are like the model layer or the transformation layer. They make sense of what data is extracted by the search engines. And then we have the loading layer, which is the agent technology, the AI agents, and they execute on those searches. Because I think there'll come a point now where people will be, well, I can't be bothered to read either. I just want it done for me. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, someone will many people will type in, you know what I like, you know me by now, go and find me a pair of trainers for this party. You know what brands I like, this is my size, here's my budget, find me a pair of sneakers, or get me that handbag, and or give me a short list of lawyers to contact because I have this dispute coming up. If you're not in the short list because you haven't invested in AI, you're going to be nowhere tomorrow.
Is AI dumbing down our society?
I think it is. I think there's a real danger that it's reducing the incentive to learn hard things such as mathematics, software engineering. We're already hearing that a lot of software engineering jobs have reduced by as much as 40%, simply because the mid-level talent can use AI. But the problem is, what happens when the senior talent retires, the mid-level talent gets promoted. There's very little mid-level talent to fill, the next upward layer, and there's no junior software engineers. So if people be too hooked on the crack cocaine of AI, then yes, I think potentially we are dumbing ourselves down globally.
I think that's kind of a reality. I
Mm.
mean, of where we're going with it, regardless of what we do with search and stuff. But
Yeah.
I only thought about that just because I like your tagline of AI is choosing winners and losers, and you can guarantee you're a winner. That the reason why it's choosing winners and losers is because we take it. I think what so many people are already taking AI kind of as gospel truth, whatever it says.
Mm. Yeah.
So no longer are we digging really any deeper. We're just saying, oh, well, AI has compared all these answers and this is the right one. Let's go.
Well, building on what you've just said, AI is not just being intellectually superior with the answers it's giving, it's also building emotional connections by
Yeah.
being conversational, friendly, you know, the person in your corner. Yeah, we heard of a case in the last month of a woman in Japan who had a legal wedding ceremony marrying herself to her AI companion. I don't know if you saw that. So
I
this
did
is the
not.
power of AI. It sounds nuts, but I think it's an extreme example of what's happening. You know, what is happening today. People AI is creating those intimate relationships with humans to the point where humans don't want to engage as much with other humans. They'd rather
Mhm.
take all their advice and counsel from their AI agent.
Well, I mean, when you are in a conversation with AI, I've experienced this plenty of times. It will gas you up right at the beginning, right? With your answer. Like
Mm.
you'll give it a, hey, I want to do this instead. Oh, great idea. This is spot on. You should do it this way. And well, I didn't think that was right. Maybe I should do it this way. You're absolutely correct. You totally should go this other direction. I mean,
No pushback.
it's like the ultimate encourager, if you
Mm.
would, when you're using it. And you know what, Andreas? I mean, people are relational. We want relationships, but really we want to be told we're good. We think we have got great ideas. We've got, all that other kind of stuff. So all these things were made by people.
Mm.
And we do know. So when getting back to this presentation, is it better then for companies to choose leaders, whether it be CEO, sales leader, marketing leader, to be the voice, if you would, of the brand? And then so that they, in a sense, are attributing to the conversation and to the content that AI is going to pull from, so that, when people are asking, what are the best companies for this? An individual comes up from that company that it's so-and-so from Monty Clark from Brand Managers says this, type of a deal. Is that the way brands should be looking at AI moving forward, or is it still just kind of give it
I
some
think it really
unique
just comes down
content?
to, yeah, I really think I mean, in your content, you really do want a thought leader featured in there, because that, again, signals very strongly to AI that there's expertise in there, whereas as opposed to just a one-sided thought leadership piece that has no real kind of objectivity or rigor or critical look at the topic. If the buyer is searching for a company, they don't always want to see a name or the CEO. They just simply want to see, give me a bunch of companies. And
Sure.
AI will give it whatever it asks for.
Yeah, good point. So what I'm hearing and what I saw in your presentation is there's not really a way to game the system.
Well,
Like traditional SEO, it was like get all these high-rated websites to link to you. So it was backlinks, and there was backlink strategy. And then there was all these, give the better, more complete answer that's got video and quotes and, white papers and all this other kind of stuff. So there were all these strategies to try and gamify the system, if you would. Not gamify, but game the system so that you would get positioned higher. It doesn't sound like those things exist with AI search.
well, I still believe, certainly us as a company in Artios, we are gaming the system, but we're gaming it at such a sophisticated level that because, for example, we're producing research grade reports that don't cost $10,000 each, for example. So one could argue that is gaming the system because you found a competitive advantage, that you found a way of producing an output but at a much more reduced cost. We built LLMs from the ground up, so we have intimate insider knowledge. That means we know how to put the reports together. So in a way, we are gaming, but the difference is with SEO and GEO is that when we're gaming AI, we make sure that there is real value and not just game value.
Well, I think that's where I was going with it, and was my point, is that you have to produce good content.
Yes,
It's the
100%.
content that makes the difference.
Yeah,
It's not the backlinks. It's not the structure,
yeah,
of what you're putting in there, so to speak. It's that you actually have to deliver it high value content for it to
yes.
output back a result.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're not going to get mentioned or a backlink from Entrepreneur Magazine for free for something
Exactly.
that isn't valuable. 100%.
So do backlinks even matter anymore?
Oh, they do. They absolutely do. Because don't forget, AI is still highly reliant on search engines because
Okay.
search engines are doing the work that AI doesn't want to do. AI is, in its purest form, is a model. It's not a crawler. A crawler is not, it's not strictly speaking AI operations or activity. AI is all about making sense of data and turning it into information.
Yeah, so it's no longer, it's really not any longer. So now, it's now really about, you need to have a website out there stuffed full with fantastic information, not so that people will go to your website, but so that AI will use you for the answer.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I feel compared to 25 years ago, the internet has changed. I don't know if you've ever watched Tron, but it's almost like
I
the
have.
grid has been changed. Before there were
Yeah.
highways, and now there's not a highway. It's just a huge shopping mall, and now the only way you get seen without paying is on the digital billboard if your answer was used. Whereas before, search was, here are 10 roads you can take. Now it's, here are 10 billboards, and you can't
Yeah.
walk into the billboard. The only thing you can walk into are the paying advertiser shops, but we can show you the billboard of the people who got there organically. Whereas before there was a route to your store. Now the grid or the internet has completely changed.
Well, it's so fascinating. I had one question for you as we close, and it just dropped straight out of my brain. It was really good too. It'll probably come back to me. But okay, fantastic presentation. Thank you for joining us. If you want to reach out to Andreas, you can find him on LinkedIn. His web address I've listed right there. Reach out, connect with him, ask any questions. You can also get to Andreas's website by scanning the code that you see on the screen, or go to audios.io. And Andreas, totally fantastic conversation. Fascinating times that we live in, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I feel, it's a bit like I was saying to my family, I have all this knowledge, but of course, SEO was quite saturated. And then AI comes, and I was thinking, I'd love to turn back the time and use my knowledge, and tell my younger self everything I know. And then AI
Yeah.
comes, and it's as if my prayers have been answered. Okay, I'm not 20 years younger, but
You're
I've got
20
all of
years
this knowledge.
smarter.
Yeah, I can absolutely help businesses who are right at the beginning of this era and profit from it heavily.
It's awesome. Okay. We have 1 minute left. Okay. Give me the top takeaway statement that you want people to know from this podcast.
Well, I think if you want to get visible in AI, you need to teach AI and the world something it didn't know before, and you need to promote it in many different places. This is not just about authority, but it's also about sentiment. It's about getting people online that are not journalists saying nice things about you, not just the journalists. So generally speaking, if there's positive sentiment, if you're getting good quality backlinks from top tier publications, and you're producing research grade reports, and they're teaching the world something new that they want to discuss, then that's how you can guarantee you're a winner in the AI search era.
Fantastic. And I will say, it's not easy. And just not everybody can do it. So if you want to do it right, reach out to Andreas. He's your guy. Andreas, thank you for being on the show. Totally awesome to have you. I appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Monty. It's been a pleasure.